right, today we're looking at the CAGED theory, just an introduction, nothing too crazy, just understanding what it is and how we can kind of start to navigate. And then I'm going to post a little video on each little section, the C shape, A shape, so on. So let's talk about that first. CAGED, just literally spelling out these chord shapes. C, A, G, E, and D. But what it's doing, it's moving us through the neck. So let's look at a C chord. Our root note's going to be on the 3rd fret of the A string. I kind of think of this as the equator. It's going to help us to navigate through this once we understand how to get to our root note. So, 3rd fret of the A string is C. The goal is to take these notes that are behind the equator up to the next point in the neck. So, that is our C in the C shape. I know I'm saying C a lot. It's just going to happen throughout this. Then we move up. Again, our root note's going to stay here on the A string. And we're going to play that A form bar chord. So, our next pivot point to get to the other side of the, quote unquote equator, we look for our next root note. In this version of the C chord, we have our root on the A string, then our 5th on the D, back to the root, our octave here, on the G, our major 3rd on the B string, 5th on the high E string. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here, and basically, I usually play this chord with 2 fingers, and I'll take my first finger and just put it where my 3rd finger is now, because we're connecting those C notes. Well, the next position is going to be our G-shaped chord. One thing to help us kind of navigate where we are, our root note's on the G string. So that kind of, if we're going to play closer to the body of the guitar, that kind of tells us, that we're in the G shape. When we play, typically, we're not going to play the chord like this. That's why we use capos, or if we're, accompanying a guitar player, we'll do... We end up playing that full chord. So, now our roots are on the G and both E strings. So I'm here on the 8th fret, between the 5th and 8th frets. So now what I'm going to do, first finger, it's going to go where this 3rd finger is. This is my next root, my next connecting point. That brings us to our E form bar chord. Again, it helps to know your chord shapes, but knowing where your root notes are, the E string, the D, and the G. So if we want to play closer to the body, and we know our root notes on the E string, we're going to end up playing that E form chord. So our next connecting point is going to be on the D string, because that's the octave. So I'm going to take my first finger and put it there. So that puts me at the 10th fret of the D string. And then that's going to be that D form chord, which again, this is a very uncomfortable, chord shape, but, that's how we play it to get to this point, to understand where our connecting points are. We'll typically just play the 3 top strings like this when we're playing parts. But this helps connect us if we're playing lines. So here, now I'm on the D string. My octave is here on the B string. So this is the rare occasion that I'm not going to put my first finger there. What I'm going to do, my first finger is going to go where my second and third finger are right now. Because chord construction, understanding the basic idea of that, root, third, fifth, right now I'm playing my root on the D string, the fifth on the G, root on the B, and major third on the high E. So these two notes, where our pinky is our connector, these two notes are going to be kind of held over. And that's going to bring us back to the C shape. So looking at this, at first glance, we're just playing the chord. We're not worried about licks. We're not worried about anything crazy. Just getting to the chord. Understanding that, finding your roots, as many times as they happen. Sometimes you have two within the chord with an octave. Sometimes you have three. In the C shape, you have two roots and two octaves of the root, I should say. And that's between the A string and the B. When I go to the A form chord, it's between the A and the G string. When I come up to the G form, it's between the E, G, and E. When I come up to the E form, it's between E, D, and high E. In the D shape, it's between the D string and the B string. And then we're back home to C. Start there, get really, really comfortable and confident in knowing where your roots are. When you start feeling comfortable with that, start adding another note, maybe a second. Seconds are really easy because they're just a whole step. Or make it a whole step. You can get kind of jazzy with it if you do a flat two, but we're not worried about that. We're just worried about connecting these forms.